Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Week 2 weekly recap. I'm Seth, joined as always by my co hosts, Kid
Hello, hello.
and Eldon Tista.
Hola.
So, yeah, guys,
I need
Week
to
2 in the books.
get
What
weather.
do you guys think about Week 2?
Pretty good.
I got to respond to Cheat really quick. I lived in Virginia for a couple years, but not West Virginia. I've been to West Virginia for like a couple days, but I've never lived there. But yeah, okay, week 2. Sorry, that's how I'm talking about the weather. I was like trying to bring us back off track.
No, I mean, Cheat is right. Like, you will get like it's 28 when you wake up, and then it goes to like 50 by like 10 a.m. And then you'll get to like 75 by the end of the day before you go back down to the 30s for night.
West weather.
That is kind of nice. I mean, that's kind of how Fort Collins is, though. Fort Collins is a lot like that, but just not as pretty. It's barren, ugly plain. Yeah, I don't know. Week 2. Week 2 was good.
Yeah.
I need to
It's,
I had a good time.
yeah, I got that dub.
Yeah, finally.
We got the 3-0 weekly recap host this week, right?
Oh, let's go. Let's go,
Everybody
host.
won.
Everybody won. I
Hey,
am.
Liz.
I guess I don't like. I'll be honest with you. I focus on draft C. I don't like watch every video just because of time. It's like I look forward to like the standings portion of this, like to see what's kind of shifted, what surprises me, and which videos I should watch next week.
All right, well, that sounds like a good time to look at the standings page.
Dang, did I segue us?
Yeah,
Not
you
me.
did. That was a great segue. All right, what are we thinking? Draft A, draft B right here.
I'm kind of annoyed that I'm in third place and I haven't lost.
Yeah, but you can't drop games, man.
I
There's
know,
no
but
room in this league to drop games.
there's no.
Say you have lost. You just haven't lost a match. You've lost a
Fine.
game.
I lost a game. I got swept 4-0 by Tetris when I set Trick Room for him, and then he ended up being slower. Um,
Speaking of
yeah.
Tetra, speaking of Trick Room getting set,
Let's see. Draft A. Jude, where art thou? Why are you in fourth place?
Jude took
Because
the
Jude, he took
Rogue
the
beat
L
Jude
to
last
Rogue.
week, yeah.
Yeah, on Showdown, right?
Yeah, they played Showdown.
That's so funny. I don't know if Rogue will watch this, but like him getting
oh, I
grounded and then
was gonna say we all heard the reason. That was great.
Well, so we don't know that it was grounded, right? Like
that's true.
we have to say
That's
what we
true.
know. Confiscated. The Switch was confiscated.
Okay.
Yes. Why
Either
was his Switch confiscated? If someone could do some investigative journalism on that, we'd love it.
way. Or not electric. Flare Blitz. Let us know. But yeah, no, I don't know.
I mean,
I
I'll just say
we
draft day looks like I expected to look right now. Still, not gonna
yeah, I mean,
lie.
for both of these drafts, if somebody was like, "You're going to see Confused and Carney at the top of the standings at the end of week 2," I'd be like, "Yep, sounds about right." Like, let's,
no, not
you
with.
know,
I would have picked Jude over me confused and I'd have just put. But I guess granted he could be if he. I think him and Rogue will end a lot higher than they were. They just took the team kill early on.
yeah.
But
And I mean, who knows how the Rogue match would have gone into Mike? It was just the horrible um, RNG fest, but
That's so funny.
um,
I guess I'll say Jordan towards the top 2 weeks in is a little surprising. Not to make a knock on Jordan in any capacity, but I feel like he tends to be more of a middling player in kind of that 4 to 6 range a lot. So seeing him kind of have some success early is great.
yeah, I mean,
Well, he
Jordan
popped
did,
off in playoffs, right? And he's just
yeah. He
held
snuck
on ever.
into
Okay.
playoffs as like the 4th seed from his draft, and then made
Okay.
finals. Yeah,
Awesome.
so
Can I ask a
I'll
question?
keep riding that wave, man.
yeah. What's
You
up?
always can.
Zenitoma Zenith is different than ZXC, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, ZXC is in draft D, and Zenitama Zenith is in draft B.
Okay. I was just
Say
was
that
like, oh,
I
they're X's and Z's. I think they're different.
I'll say that my surprise here is TDKL in 10th place. Um, TDKL went like 6-3 last season or something like that. So definitely a little bit of a surprise there.
Yeah, I
But
think that.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
let's move on.
Let's move on to C and D.
I'm surprised Seth is in first place.
Yeah, me
I'll
too.
be the first to put that out there. No.
Looks like draft C. I mean,
It looks like draft
pretty
C.
straightforward.
That's about what I would expect with everyone kind of stuck in the middle like that.
Yeah,
I guess my hope for draft C is this year or this season is that it's not one person runs away with it and it's kind of everything has to go to week 9.
I would say that there's going to be a lot of we're just going to cannibalize each other a lot, like as we move on and start playing. As you play like me and KD and I play KD and Stacks and Scubars and that, like there's just going to be so many matches that are just like so heat, and then I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for one person to pull ahead.
I'll agree 100%. It's going
That's
to
kind
be
of
so.
a fun odd.
I get to keep on my villain arc, so I'll just
Yeah.
keep pushing that.
Well, I'm
I'm gonna
excited to
roll
see
with it.
Ted's content with his new flashcard.
Heck yeah! Oh yeah! Congratulations, Ted.
Yeah.
Capture card, excuse me.
Yeah, Ted posted a video for a different draft league, I think, but we haven't seen the one from his draft draft league FDL match yet. So yeah, what do you guys think about draft D? Spotty at the top.
I'm honestly kind of surprised Splatty at the top because he did so poorly in the preseason. I thought, oh, okay, maybe his team's like just not that good in draft then. Right? Like I thought it would be good. And then he dropped a bunch of preseason games, and I was like, oh, maybe people are just figured it out, and then he's won everything. So
So
that's
I'll say this about Splatty in the preseason, right? So Splatty is wild in the regular season. So like in the preseason, like I just imagine the sets he was running were just insane. Like
that's true. Just his
yeah. For example, I'll give an example of literally today. I talked to Splatty about my matchup, and he was
followers.
like, I said, "Yo, what do you think about this?" And he goes, "Have you looked at Special Life Orb Sheer Force Taurus yet?" I was like, "That thing has 40 base special attack," and he was like recommending that to me as a set.
That you went and looked at it though, just to be
I
safe.
did. I went and ran a calc, and it was
Not good.
pretty much yeah.
Yeah.
But I will continue to reach out to Splatty because he's also a genius. So
Splatty's a genius. Splatty's a madman. Papa Tommy, what's up, buddy? I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't beat Papa Tommy the last time he was in my league. His Moltres always lived on 1 HP, and I felt like he was kind of bopping everybody. So I'm surprised to see him at the bottom. I need him to shake off the rust a little bit.
yeah, no, I can't remember who Papa
took it
Tommy.
tough.
Papa Tommy played
Tarkington.
Splatty week 1 and then played Tarkington week 2.
Yeah.
And
So,
the
I mean, he's had a
Tarkington,
pretty tough
okay.
start.
yeah,
So he's gonna go 7-2 or whatever down the stretch now. I guess 6-2.
We'll talk more about Papa Tommy here in a little.
yeah. So you guys want to jump into some match reviews then?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So who wants to go first?
Let's let El Dentista.
Okay, I'll go first. So I had let's see, Computing Bullet and Mr. Cheat to Win. Fun match to watch. I was excited to pull that one up because Computing, he recorded for the first time. His audio didn't quite work and whatnot, so I didn't end up. I watched it from Cheat's perspective, not from his. But I'm excited to see more. I don't know. It's exciting seeing more people recording and kind of dipping their toes in that, and I feel like that's what makes this league so fun, right? Is getting to watch everyone's matches and people streaming them, and
Yeah, no, it's definitely
yeah.
awesome to see more people recording. I'll definitely shout out Viet Jesus. You guys definitely need to go watch his POVs. It's going to be great content all season from him.
And I can watch it now because we've played.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh yeah, yeah. I watched it.
Oh yeah,
I think I watched
we had 2
it.
stream premieres this week, didn't we? Oh wait, I'm sorry, he did week 1 also, but Tetris premiered this week, didn't he? Too.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing Tetris, but because he was, he's the commissioner and whatnot, but we did a Whis match last week, so yeah, so didn't do Tetris. But anyway, shout out to Computing Bullet putting 5 KOs on Alolan Golem in one match, which was pretty cool. So he brought
boom, boom.
boom, 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 but he played it well, right? Like, I don't know. Whenever I bring something that explodes, I succumb to the temptation of putting a choice band on it. And so, yeah, like that. But anyway, he double protected on turn 1, which baited out the protects from cheat on turn 1 because he saw the golem. He's like, oh, he's gonna explode. He's like, okay, well, I'll double protect. Then it's like, okay, well, crap, now golem's gonna explode. He put the focus sash on it, which was nice, and then he had the Palmot next to it. So right, galvanize with explosion on the golem turns it into an electric type move. So he picked up some KOs that way. And then Cheat just played his Gyarados really, really well. And kind of pinned him to win it. And then ended up losing game 2 on. Well, he almost lost game 1 too, I think, right? Like he almost was it game 1 where he threw on the earthquakes? Or was that a later game?
No, that was game 1.
Was game 1
where he protects into the double protect and does half damage to his own Raging Bolt, and then Raging Bolt takes the close combat from Palma and lives on like 4 HP or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so the set was pretty close. They both played well. I think there were what on earth?
I mean, I'll go ahead and say the ending of game 2 was hilarious.
Yeah.
What was he holding back the Terra for?
I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think my wife heard me scream from the garage, like, "Why are you not tearing?"
Well, so I'm watching the VOD, right? I'm there at work. I'm like doing my treatment notes, and I'm like, okay, so there's 35 minutes left. We're like 20 minutes into, or it's a 35-minute VOD. We're like 22 minutes into it. It's Raging Bolt versus Blastoise. I'm like, okay, so he's Terra Ground. He wins. And then he doesn't Terra and gets bopped by the Thunderbolt.
I'm like, doesn't Terra not 1 turn, but 2 turns? He doesn't Terra. Like, he can Terra whatever he wants. He just continues to be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do it.
And then clicks
like, oh my God, he's trying to make it was beautiful.
Yeah, but it was just so funny because Cheat's like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna take the 2-0 and like, and then like right at the end he's like, well, unless he's ground Terra all of a sudden, and then he just
like
pops it off.
And then like, but he gets the paralyze too. So like,
yeah,
now you're 50-50 the next turn when you Terra, and then if you don't, like Dragon Pulse wins.
Yep.
Yeah, no, so Computed in the chat. He says Terra was obvious, wanted to catch it on the second turn. See, the man's crazy. He's got more patience than I do, and this is why I explode into double protects all the time. But yeah, no, I thought it was well positioned. It was well played. It was a good, fun match to watch. I wish he had Fake Out. I think if you had Fake Out, then I think you had a good chance of winning game 3. But yeah, I don't know. You guys have any other insight into it?
Yeah, I think having Fake Out on one of Palmont
either
or Blastoise,
yeah, or Blastoise, yeah,
goes a long way in that one. I mean, I know it's like tough to run Fake Out into like Glamora, right? Like, cause you're like, well, I don't want to pop the spikes and stuff, but
that's true.
I think that just having that pressure. I mean, I think Cheat to Win did play around it a few turns at the beginning, but then he's like, oh, he's got no Fake Out on anything because he hasn't used it yet. So I mean, I just the mons
Yeah.
existing get like some value out of fake out being there, but I think having it on one of them would have gone a long way.
Yeah. Well, and then game 3, I can't remember the exact. I should have written down the switches, but computing had some really good swaps, just positioning things very well. I think he brought in he brought in whatchamacallit, the ogre pawn on like a waterfall, and just
Wasn't that
it was
game?
fun.
Was
There's
that
a
game
lot of
two
good
or game
position.
three?
I think that was game 2.
Yeah, game
Was
two
that game
was
2?
the switches. Yeah. Game three was
Yeah.
like cheat got a protect on the turn that Golem exploded. Um,
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and
and
then
then it didn't kill Winds,
the
something
Terra
like that.
Fairy Dazzling Gleam Glamora kind of like went off that game.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, let's go on to the next match. That was a fun one.
All right, kid, what do you got?
I went with Papa Tommy and S. Tarkington. So I threw it out to the general chat to give me ideas. They were the first ones, and no one else really threw any upset via Jesus. And I didn't want to keep talking about myself and sounding conceited, so I couldn't talk about his and mine match. Um, so this one ended up actually being kind of a cool match from the standpoint that it was kind of their rubber match. So they've each had a win against each other throughout the leagues in the last couple of years since Sword Shield. This was their third matchup, and it did not disappoint at all. So it went 3 games. If you go to team preview, you look at Papa Tommy's team, it looks pretty darn close to a Reg F team. And then here comes Tarkington with Victor Bowl and a bunch of support mons and King Gambit, which was kind of interesting. So game 1, I think Papa Tommy kind of loses on turn 1, not just stopping the tailwind from happening. I know with hindsight that I could easily say that, but going for the fake out and just delaying it a turn, thinking that Surging Strike is going to be an auto kill on the Annihilate, I think kind of cost him, even though he picks up the Annihilate kill the next turn. That put him in a bad position for, which surprising to everyone, Victor Bull absolutely went ham between Poison Jab and Leaf Blade. Just had all the answers for him. Big thing that stood out to me in game 1 really was that Arkin didn't have to reveal it, but at the end of that game, he reveals that Illumise has no attack moves on it whatsoever by clicking the light screen. So at that point, we knew it had, I think, Encore, Charm, and Tailwind, and then he shows the light screen, so it has no attacks. So Tommy could play around that now at this point. So he takes a tough loss in game 1 because Vic Triple just kind of cleans up everything. And then going into game 2, Tommy adjusts well. I believe takes out the Illumise on turn 1 before it can set Tailwind by pivoting to his Ogre Pawn. And then from there, it's a back and forth. Articuno had come in as an option to adapt and adjust to if Tailwind went up to go Trick Room. It was kind of the standard Articuno Imprison set with Tailwind, Trick Room, and Air Slash, which actually was pretty solid in the Tommy's team and into Tarkington's team. And so Tommy pulls out game 2. They go to game 3. Uh, turn 1 is a lead of the Ogre Pawn and Urshifu again. I'm sorry, I think Rillaboom comes in the beginning of game 3. He fakes out. So I guess no. I guess my thing in game 3 was you knew game 1 that by letting him get Tailwind up, you were behind the 8 ball. I wish he would have tarried the Ogre Pawn on turn 1, take out the Illumise and kills it with an Ivy Cudgel. Because you're going to take 50 to 60% from the Victor Bowl on a poison jab, unfortunately. But at that point, now you're ahead of the game and you're not having to play from behind for 4 turns against a mon that basically OKOs your entire team you've brought, with the exception of Articuno this game. I think that would have sealed game 3 for him right there. But instead, fake outs, and then the next turn, the Tailwind he fake outs into the Victor Bowl. Tailwind goes up, and he kills Illumise, which allows the free switch into the King Gambit. And then Tarkington from there just kind of plays around with the offensive side that protects, eventually pivots to get the Clefable in and just takes it home from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy like how good the Victory Bell was, um, just like into Tommy's team in general. Because
So,
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, because it's like whenever we've been talking about Tommy's team, we're like, um, everybody, thinks that that team is absolutely busted, and then here comes Victory Bell throwing out the poison jam to everything. um,
Yeah, Poison Jam's the best.
yeah, but yeah, that mom was pretty insane, and like you said in game three, once it was Victory Bell and Tailwind beside King Gambit, Terra flying like Rillaboom, Urshifu, Agripon Hearthflame, those mons like don't stand a chance into that like coverage that those two mons are putting
Right.
out, like when they're outspeeding them.
Yep. And then you commit your Terra, so now your Articuno can't even Terra to kind of protect itself a little bit into those two.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to point out for Tommy's sake, make him feel a little better. There was a big crit from a sucker punch on the from the King Gambit. That crit did not matter in killing that Ogerpon. I went and did the calcs on it based on what Tarkington's two mons were. Unless he was like super bulked out on his Ogerpon, which is unlikely. Correct me if I'm wrong. That definitely killed and picked up without needing a crit.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that was definitely a cool match to watch, and it was like the really interesting part was that all three games were like played around Victory Bell. Um,
Yeah, and right down to the wire too. Like it wasn't like it was a blowout, like Victor Bell blew things out, or
yeah,
Tommy didn't adapt. I mean, I think a couple aggressive switches might have hurt Tommy here and there. In all honesty, but overall, both played extremely well, and it was a tough end game for Tommy to deal with.
yeah. In game one was also um, game one was also really cool because Tommy got encored into Spiky Shield, and
Yeah,
depending on some doubles, potentially, probably needed to get like a triple protect, but Spiky Shield could have
yeah,
potentially like won the game for him.
yeah. That would have been pretty freaking awesome. We'd have had to
Yeah,
talk about that one for a
yeah,
while.
for sure.
Awesome.
Um,
We got one more, yeah.
yeah, so for the game that I picked, um,
Well,
Electric, if you're still
you're not
here,
you're
what?
not too paralyzed to talk about it, are you, Seth? You're not
I
too
am
nervous.
not. But Electric, if you're here, you might want to mute the stream for like 5 minutes. But um, yeah, so I picked the confused Electric match. This match had like a little bit of everything. It so game one was like the boring game of the two games, but so it was basically like confused playing Palmot, faking out stuff, throwing out paras, and then coming in with the specs, Spectrier, and hexing things, just one shotting everything. Um,
Mm.
so there
What
wasn't
was
like
Electric's
what is it?
EV spread on? I said, what was Electric's EV spread? How invested was Duraludon in defense?
Electric, can you provide us Duraludon's defense EVs in that?
Because body press seemed like it was doing a lot less than I would have thought. But I don't know, I just remember there was like a survive. I think it was Thunderous or something that survived, and I was impressed that it survived.
Yeah, I mean
So it made me think of
Thunderous dropped to like 9 HP off a crit body press.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
It's pretty
I
Okay,
cool.
so
mean
it wasn't a lot
so like
defense.
that's not what was it like +4? I think at the time that it went for the body press, or maybe +5. Um, so it wasn't maxed out, and it was into a resist, and I'm gonna assume that confused it was running it bulky. But yeah, I mean, body press just isn't that good into resists, honestly. Like I don't know. Duraludon has really high defense in it, and Electrics was like very invested, so it's more of a knock on like body press into it. Yeah, Thundy was 252,
Okay.
252, so it was definitely like a fully defensive Thunderous.
That's
Okay.
wild.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so like if you're +5 body press and you get the 2 shot on Thundy, like you're taking that. Um, but Yeah, so yeah, the game 1 was fairly boring, and then uh we get to game 2, and so this game starts off and it's like Hydrapple and I think Palmont was on the field. Um and so Electric like protects through the fake out turn. Confuse switches out into Gyarados and like hits the Intimidate onto Urshifu, who goes for the Ice Spinner into Hydrapple. Hydrapple lives on like 9 HP or 21 HP or something like that, and then pops the Sash onto Urshifu. And Confused is a absolute madman, running Sucker Punch on his Hydrapple, and picks up
On
the
a
Urshifu
scope
kill the next turn.
lens, yeah, the scope lens special Hydrapple.
Yeah, Scope Lens, Draco Meteor, Leaf Storm, Dragon Cheer set basically that's just randomly running Sucker Punch, and picks off the Sash Urshifu the following turn, and then the Hydrapple sticks around for the rest of the game, or like most of the game after that. But yeah, so following that turn, Confused starts throwing out T waves with Gyarados, and Electric gets 5 full paras in game 2. So like basically the rest of Electric's turns were just full paras. Um
Sounds
and
like a
the
really
whole
bad
time is
time.
just Confused with his villain laugh, just sitting there in his lair, just dying on stream.
Well, right. And then to put salt in the wound, on one of those para turns, Duraludon gets off because, well, so Hydrapple misses Draco into Archaludon, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay because Driftblim only knows how to get paralyzed. But then Archaludon misses the Snarl so that Hydrapple can attack again with its remaining 4 HP, guaranteed crits, and then another full para into Draco, finishing it off.
Yeah, so the funniest part about the match though is like the BM at the end where Confused Terra Electric double shocks the Drifblim that hasn't moved in like 5 turns. Just it's a 4v1 and he just like Terra Electric double shocks it and it's just like making sure that it's uber dead.
Standing over the
his
deflated balloon, proving a point.
right, his laugh and KD's laugh from the Empoleon were some of the more entertaining FDL content that I think I've watched.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That
Um anything else from week 2 you guys wanted to cover?
Um,
Did you
Got
guys
nothing.
watch the Tetris and Whis match?
I watched it
no,
live.
Yeah.
It was
The
great
sucker
watching the man collapse live.
Yeah, the sucker punch in game 2 was pretty funny. Um Also like I can't remember like what exactly happened, but um so Tetris went for like the curse to dodge the sucker punch, but the curse made him slower than the King Gambit. So like that was a really awkward situation. Um but I think oh yeah, he got the flinch from Iron Head on Bisharp, didn't he? That's what happened. But yeah,
Yes.
to come out ahead. But yeah, like if Whis would have targeted down the Bisharp, then Tetris would have made himself slower than King Gambit with 2 curses to dodge sucker punches and would have lost. So that was like kind of a funny interaction.
Darned
oh
if
my
you do,
god.
darned if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I guess you could blow protects to make sure that you stay faster, right? Like just burn protect turns, but
Yeah.
like I don't know, it's sucker punching games are like kind of hard if you're not the sucker puncher.
Right.
Did
It's kind of like
you guys ever
playing
seen that?
defense in football.
Yeah.
See the one, oh, what region? Was it like Knoxville or something like that? Where
Somebody
Justin
protected
Tang,
like
I think it
8
was.
turns in a row.
Yeah, you like impossible comeback with like the sucker punch against what was it? I can't even remember. I don't know, it was like a playoff match or a win and in or whatever, and the guy just blew it against him like 8 turns in a row, and then he won. That was
Yeah.
impressive.
Stacks, you missed
Stack.
everything. We're about to go into the
Get our
In
the
teeth
dentist
cleaned.
chair here. But
Get our teeth clean. I cleaned some teeth today.
I got my teeth cleaned today.
Did you? Did it feel
Yeah.
nice? Was it scary?
No, it was just my normal 6-month appointment. It just happened to be the week after we talked about it.
There you
Um
go.
Oh yeah, so I guess before we get into the full dentist chair experience here, um we said we were gonna tell everybody what our favorite Pokemon teeth are.
Like, yeah.
So,
Okay.
what
Well,
you
I'll
got?
go first.
All right.
I'd say we start with the dentist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of nice Pokemon teeth. I actually scrolled through all the sprites. I'll give a shout out to Young Goose. Right, that boy's got some big chompers in his head. Not my pick, but that was my number 2. Probably would have been Young Goose. Um, but I had to go with Great Tusk because I've got this dream that has become progressively more expensive as fossils get more and more expensive. But 10 years ago, it wasn't as expensive of a dream as it is now. You go to Cabela's and you go to their like gun room or their gun library where they've got the old fancy ones, and
Yeah.
they usually have like old elephant tusks on the
Yeah.
walls. Um, I've always thought it'd be cool to have like a set of big ol' not elephant but mammoth tusks. The big curled ones.
Yep.
Um, and so Great Tusk is my boy because of those ginormous canines that he's got. Those would be they're beautiful. They'd be a pain to clean, but they're beautiful, and I want some.
All
What do
right.
you think of God's teeth? I have a special delivery Bidoof Pokemon card that's worth like $500 that I got for free. It's Charizard with, Charizard's got the little backpack. Oh, kid must be yelling at his dog. I just saw the mute button go. Um, you know how there's the Charizard, it's got the little harness. You ever seen like Pikachu in it or whatnot? Pokemon made a meme one a few years got the little harness ago, and they did special delivery Bidoof, and it's Charizard carrying a Bidoof, and it was like a super limited release, and I won the lottery to get one, and so they're super expensive because it's got a Charizard on it. They're limited,
Is it
but
PSA graded?
yeah, it's a 9, not a 10.
Be not
I'll have
soft.
to
Okay.
post it in the chat.
You can't complain about a 9 on like a limited edition, limited run card,
Yeah,
right?
no. I mean, maybe I can't remember if maybe it's like a $300 card. Not if I can't remember what it is, but I don't plan on selling it. But it's funny. It's raw price is essentially the same as a PSA 9 price, but the PSA 10's like super expensive because they just toss the card in the box with whatever you ordered from Pokemon Center, so it just flops around. So 10s are super hard. They're actually, which most modern cards 10s aren't hard to get, but in this card the 10 was pretty hard to get.
Yeah. All right, kid. So what Pokemon's your pick for the teeth?
Alluded to it last week, but I'm sticking with my boy Snowrunt.
Sticking with Snorunt.
Uh,
All right.
not only cute anonymous, 20% of his body is teeth.
Hey,
And
that's
that's
fair.
math I did not check or try to do, so just assume it's correct.
I mean, makes
Dude,
sense to me.
Snorunt's got some cute Pokemon cards too. Okay, Sappy boy, what's your pick? Who are your teeth?
I'm taking Darmanitan. Dude is like all mouth. And
Galarian
Loving it.
or
no,
Classic?
the Gen 5.
The
The
Gen 5 one.
Calosian. But
Yeah.
yeah. Taking Darm.
It's a big ol' nice white teeth smile.
Yeah, he's always smiling. He's got the huge mouth. He's got the sharpened teeth, like just pointed. He's ready. Should have gave that
Dude,
dude strong
homeboy
jaw.
That guy would crunch you hard. Holy cow. Those are some
Yeah,
big teeth. Those are
wouldn't think
big
twice
teeth.
about it.
All right.
Yeah, so and I want to see what people in the chat tell us what who you think has the best teeth. Tell us the best Pokemon teeth.
Ooh.
All right, Eldon Tista,
But
what you got for us this week?
okay, so I got kind of two topics. I guess I can even give you a third. But what's best type to do a monotype run in VGC? Oh, via Jesus. Should we answer via Jesus's question?
I think it's
And then
flying, and it's not really close if you're wanting to do like actual VGC.
Flying, that's an interesting one, and I get it because of the genies.
Yeah, exactly. You get all 3 of them, and then you're just kind of cooking.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I was gonna say fairy because I think fairy's just formidable or steel.
Yeah.
Steel's got enough coverage otherwise, but dude, flying. You know what? I would have never put flying on my radar until you said that. And like, you got rock dragon. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, let's
You
do
get
that.
you
Dragon
get
all day.
yeah, you get Prankster
Or I'm sorry, flying.
Tailwind.
Yeah,
Prankster Tailwind,
stupid.
Lando Eye, Earth Powers, you just eat up the steel types, you go off.
Yeah, love it.
I like that. My first thought was rain because of Kyogre, but then you get like some Swift Swim users or something or other. But
Oh,
I don't know.
Is Kyogre in VGC right now? Did that
No,
happen?
no, but you
Oh,
said monotype. I'm just saying where my brain went.
I mean, Dragon is always going to be a contender because all the Dragon mons are like insanely statted, but what are Eldon Tista's thoughts on Choodle?
On
got big
Choodle.
old.
I hate Choodle. I hate. Like, you know how there are a few Mons where you're like, this is not a Pokemon. Like, it's whoever approved this design. No, Choodle. It's like a baby's head on a tortoiseshell. It's horrible. Like, I love me the Galar Pokemon. That's such a good dex. But Choodle, I love Dreadnought. Dreadnought is awesome. Choodle, like, so I have I'll have to post some pictures of it in chat. I have for Shining Fates, I have essentially a master set of it, right? So it's like all the Galar Pokemon in shiny cards. And I was like, it took me forever to finally buy the freaking Choodle because I was like, this card's disgusting. I don't want the shiny Choodle.
But justify the like 30 cents it was gonna cost you because it was just so ugly.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, buddy,
I
that
love it.
set was nice to complete because they're so cheap.
I,
But Dreadnought is kind of uggo. I mean, but
yeah,
Dreadnought at least looks like a Pokemon. I like
I mean,
Dreadnought.
Choodle looks like a Pokemon, just not the kind you want to hang out with.
Nah, ugh. Toodle can go to a pediatric dentist. I don't need to see him.
Love it. It's starting to get teeth
Okay.
related now.
Teeth related. No, okay. Here's my question for you guys. So we were kind of chatting about it a little bit the other day. But I feel like this format more so than ones we've played in the past, at least, and totally understand it could just be kind of a fluke over the first few weeks of season thus far. But I feel like you can win way more matches in team builder by than in game. Does that make sense? Like the thing we kind of talked about, Seth, right, was we talked about how Dynamax in previous formats that we've played in FDL really made a difference where even if you got kind of outbuilt by depending on who you Dynamaxed and when you Dynamaxed, you could play around it a little bit. It seems like I've seen more matches where um someone just almost not auto wins, but just makes it so much harder.
Yeah.
Build something really well. Why do you guys think that is, or why do you disagree with my take?
Um,
We talking in VGC or are we talking in draft?
we're talking about draft
In
league,
draft,
like
Okay. Okay.
draft
Okay.
league.
yeah, you just
Okay.
get got by your opponent and then you're like super on the back foot and it's like a lot harder to come back than it was like in the max format. I think it just has to
Yeah,
do with
like
like the max format was so powerful that like no matter what your opponent did, you were going to have something powerful to do back to them, right?
It
Like,
was generous to bad decisions.
yeah. There's a lot more forgiving. Like, I mean, you could definitely just like lose on the spot in the max format, but you always could just like double a bulky Pokemon's HP and kind of like claw back into it with some boosts.
Right, and that Tetris is someone who brings this up a lot about Dynamax, how it could have been better, or how it could have been a little more even. I don't mind his take. I definitely think that the way Dynamax worked, had you attacked into a protect, you didn't get the boosts, it wouldn't have been as powerful, but still would have been game changing.
Yeah. Via Jesus, it's kind of like both combined. Like the base power of the max moves plus the increased HP and bulk just kind of made things. And the other part of that is the moves gave. Some of them gave like boosts, like to defense or special defense, attack, speed, whatever. And all three of those things combined just kind of like made maxing a Pokemon like insane.
Also,
And you could
it
also just
prevented fake
weakness policy everything because of the increased HP. So like you could
Mhm.
just instantly have something +2/+2 ready to just like nuke everything.
That was
Yeah,
kind of my favorite part about it with draft, right? Was you're like, weakness policy this. I shall
Yeah.
slap a weakness policy onto this and sweep the other team.
Yeah, my approach that season was like, well, what's going to weakness policy this week? And
Yeah.
I mean it worked out. So
yeah. I think what I personally like about like Gen 9 and like the Terra format is in draft, it rewards you breaking your opponent's team. Like if you can find the line that will win you the match, or you can find that one or two mons that will just push it in your favor, you get rewarded for
That big
that work.
stuff.
Whereas Dynamax kind of, you could have had the perfect team for the counter and they Dynamax the right thing, and then or at the right time and you're done.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean I think
Yeah,
that
I like what
the reason that it feels harder in this format is that you have to outplay bad positions. You can't just like steamroll over it, right? Like you have to skillfully come back from a bad spot.
yeah, it rewards good play
Yeah.
and punishes poor play. And
yeah.
I think, if we look at just our league and the fact that we're sitting at 40 plus people now, I think you can see which people are rewarded for the good gameplay and vice versa based on the way the conversations go. That's not saying that we don't have our own flaws and we're not, we don't make our own mistakes or whatever, but it's like Gen 9 was just that gen, even megas, if you go back to like Gen 7, like those weren't as game changing, but they were game changing. Like Gen 9 is finally like, to me, Terra is the thing that kind of made competitive gameplay good and strong, but still allowed for players who made good decisions to thrive and not get frustrated by just random. I mean, RNG still happens, but you know what I mean, like the random just stuff that could cause that Gen 8 was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I guess that's kind of to my point, right? Is it seems like I guess maybe that's just because it's the beginning of the season and people have gotten lucky with weird little gimmicks.
Well,
That
hey,
there's
use your match from last week. You figured
yeah,
out
well,
that
like
the Tailwind Blood Moon
was
absolutely.
quite literally unstoppable. I beat Gengar before the game even started. There
So
was
so but here's my so
nothing.
here's my point to that. Like perhaps Gengar finds a way to slow that down, or a way to counter that specific thing, because he realizes Tailwind Blood Moon absolutely nukes. How do I deal with it? So he comes up with a Terra plan or a similar plan to maybe wear it down or position to where he can kill it. Like that's what's great. Like there's so much back and forth game planning, and you have to hope you can read your opponent and the way they play. It's just it forces you to play the opponent and the team a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing
Makes it
about building
poker.
in Gen 8 was like you're building your game plan and you kind of don't care what your opponent does. You're just like, if I get this max set off, I'm gonna win. But your opponent's doing the same
Mm.
thing. So you're kind of like, just two
Whose
ships
max
passing
is
by
more
each other and
maxy?
whoever, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Jesus is asking, which mechanic did you enjoy most for VGC? He's listed Terra Dynamax Mega here. I guess there's also Z moves. Are we missing any? think that's all of them.
That's pretty much it because it's like
Yeah.
Gen 6 up really is when VGC got real popular, I think.
So I think I'll
Um,
give this.
Let's
I'll
say
give my
yeah,
answer
go
in.
ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I'll give my answer in two parts. Um, and gyms doesn't really count, but I mean, I guess it does. Gen 5 was like, was it Gen 4? One of Gen 4 or Gen 5 was
then
just like spam Dragon Gem Draco Meteor, but um
it's like baby
the
Z moves.
yeah, so my two answers are I like Dynamax for draft. Draft Dynamax was probably one of my favorite formats because it like every week was just fun. Um it was fun to build because you just had so much HP to play with and you could just like do whatever. But so for draft I would say it's Dynamax. Dynamax was not my favorite VGC format. Um like my favorite format from Gen 8 was the Series 12 where it was no max. No max single restricted was my favorite format of that
That was
generation.
awesome.
Yeah. Um and then I so I really like the I mean I guess Terra is my favorite mechanic because it's just like the least impactful in the game and we have open team sheets now so we know you're not getting caught off guard by anything. It's just you have all the info, it's just now you have to outplay.
See, I think Dynamax would have been really fun with open team sheets. So I guess my answer to that is pretty similar to yours. I think Dynamax and Draft. I liked Dynamax and Draft more than I liked Terra and Draft, especially with, you know, I Terra is a love and hate in Draft, right? Because it's closed team sheet, which I think is the way it needs to be, but also it's kind of stressful. But anyway, I liked Dynamax a lot. I really enjoyed it. I hated it with restricteds. Like
Yeah.
before restricted mons, enjoyed Dynamax once. Kyogre could Dynamax, then it was I didn't care for that. I didn't think that was as fun. Hate megas. I can't like yeah. I love the megas in the like storyline aspect of it. I think it's a fun little thing in competitive. Megas suck because you're like, oh, this mega's so cool, I want to use it, and there's like three actually competitive viable megas, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So what Stacks just said is pretty much what we were talking about, where it feels like you can just lose in team builder to like a Terra that's really good into you that you weren't expecting. Um, where he said close Terra in draft is kind of cheap, not gonna lie.
So I am a big proponent of open Terra, closed team sheet the rest of the way.
Yeah,
oh, okay. I could dig that. I would be okay with that because I don't want to
So
play.
it's
I never thought of
yeah,
that option because I'm like, open team sheet defeats the whole friggin' purpose of draft, right? Like,
correct.
yeah,
So this gives you a happy medium that takes a variable out of the equation and kind of gives you the it's that give and take, right? With the people who really want a more competitive draft scene versus, a Dynamax type scene. This one just gives you an extra layer to where it kind of allows for a little more competitive play.
yeah, I'd be all in if we said, hey, free agency going forward, open Terra, closed team sheet. I think yeah, never thought about that one. I don't like Terra captains though.
Agreed 100% on that, El Dentista.
Like, Electric is, I know she really wants the Terra captains. I think that's a fun trash league thing to do,
I don't hate Terra
but
captains in like singles draft, but I don't think like
Yeah,
VGC
singles,
just
yes.
VGC works differently. Um,
who would be
Be it,
open?
be it. This is something that honestly, it's super easy to implement, especially within a league like ours. Um, it's all kind of on honor, and it's hey, you got to submit your roster to. We typically would probably set it up to where it's our pod mods that would kind of verify the roster's accurate based on what was submitted or similar. So that one's pretty easy to kind of make happen.
yeah, I mean you could
Yeah,
just
or you just
say you have
send
to
it to the other
send
person, right?
yeah. You could just say you have to submit your Terra captains by like Thursday in the week or whatever. And then I mean
Yeah,
I know some people like don't build until last minute, so that's kind of a problem, but um
change their approach.
New Mutiny Gang. Yeah, no, I think that does. Yeah, I think that it does. It brings more skill into it, right? Which
And
I
but
mean, it
it keeps that option open to make those appropriately defensive terrors or offensive terrorists that swing a game in your favor. Now you just can't throw a Terra Fairy at something because a team's weak to Fairy or a team is neutral to a Fairy Mon that Terra isn't gonna hurt them.
yeah. I mean, I guess this might be all a moot point. Um, but since this is like supposedly the last season of Gen 9 draft for FDL, but I don't know. I don't know if we would implement it like since we've already started the season or not, but
Oh, yeah, 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 I wouldn't.
yeah,
I
just
guess
leave.
my vote would be not to do that.
Yeah.
well, fellas, I can keep chatting to you about stuff, but we're getting close to midnight for
Yep, and I think we've kinda
Mr.
covered everything
Stephanie.
we wanna cover.
Yeah, I think we're good for this week.
Awesome,
Um
man. No, this is another great one.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for watching everybody. Um
Thanks, chat, for all your chitty chatting. It makes it. That's what I love. That's why I enjoy this. Like, if it's like I enjoy us three chatting too, but it's fun when all you
Let them
guys get
interact with
involved.
us. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so thanks again for watching everybody. We'll catch you guys next week for week 3.
Oh,
Ooh, day after Easter.
Go watch Seth's Yakety Stacks video of